American Gun is the new book by Chris Kyle, fallen hero and author of the #1 bestseller, American Sniper. American Gun is a history of the U.S. told through 10 legendary firearms. New from Morrow, read Chris Kyle's American Gun.
21 till the hour here in the Imus the Morning program on the radio all over the world, Armed Forces Radio, all that. And on the Fox Business Network all over the country. Please welcome now to the Imus Morning program, Bo Dietl. Good morning, Mr. Dietl.
Good morning, Don. How are you, sir?
Well, I'm good. Did you ever run into Whitey Bulger?
No, I never did. That's one guy I never met.
So I got this guy coming on later this morning, Dick Lair. He and this guy named Gerald O'Neill. I think they're two former reporters, but whatever they are. They've written apparently a couple of books about Whitey. They have a new book called Whitey. My question for you is, they describe him as America's most notorious mob boss. And my question for you is that true?
Notorious, no. I think he would be like the second team compared to some of the people that we had that sprouted up here in the New York area, because, I mean, with the 5 crime families in New York, with the Gambinos, the Genovese, Lucchese, Bonanno, on and on. I mean, these were organized groups that came around from the 30s, and it was passed on. So it was like a major these were major corporations who had their tentacles into all types of businesses, murder, extortion, legit businesses. So what I'm saying is these infrastructures were so much larger. When Whitey was a one-man show over there in Boston, he was notorious, and he was very vicious. But, I mean, how vicious could he be? He was a one-man show over there when you have these other groups that had hundreds of people in each one of the families there. So in reality, I can't see it comparing to the real guys over here in New York.
And apparently they had a bunch of people in the FBI who were working with Whitey, right?
Yeah, I mean, and, we had some allegations here in New York about what was going on with an FBI agent, Lynn DeVecchio, there
I remember that.
Yeah, and there was a lot of allegations about him with Scarper and the same kind of allegations there. Is it true? Is it not true? Honestly, I don't have any definitive information on it. I know my friend Peter Lance wrote a book about it, and honestly, I didn't read it yet, but there's a lot of allegations out there about cooperation where they were giving them information to get other information. I mean, if you're going to deal with these guys, things can get bad. So,
well, when you wrote when one of the cases that you're famous for, that you and your partner wrote, that what was it? The
nun rape.
Exactly. Yeah, Didn't the mob help you break that case?
Well, not really. The real fact of the matter is, when I was younger, I used to drive Ralph Scopo around. He was somebody who was in the construction business, and I had met Fat Tony Salerno as a kid, 17 years of age, and he was running out of a place called the Colonial in East Harlem on 116th Street, First Avenue. So when this horrific crime took place, it was named by Mayor Koch as the most horrific crime in New York history.
What was the crime again? What did they do?
2 guys broke into a Roman Catholic convent on the 3rd floor. They beat a nun almost to death, and they raped, sodomized. They carved 27 crosses. They put a broom in her, and they left her for dead. So when this thing happened, Tommy Colleran and I, we were on our own. We were locking up all the murderers on the street, all the robbery people. So I get a call to the Colonial, and Fat Tony's there with a cigar out of his mouth. He was the head of the Genovese family at that time, and he goes, "Hey, Bo Dietl, you and your Irish partner there, what are you doing about these guys that raped the nun?" I said, "Tony, we got nothing to do with it. They got 200 detectives on it." He goes, he said a couple curses and says, "That's baloney." He goes, "You guys should be getting involved with this." Then we went up to Rayo's, and I saw Vinny Rayo up there. And Vinny says something to me. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning. I was having a couple of cocktails with Tommy. Yeah. And Vinny Rayo says to me, "Bo, I was outside, and I was cleaning up outside when 2 guys passed by, and they go, 'You want to know who raped that nun? These guys come from 125th Street.'" So now when that was said, it was like a light bulb that went off. It's so hard to explain. And I grabbed Tommy. I said, "We're going to work on this thing. We got 3 days to work on it on our own." And we started tossing every pimp, every prostitute, every drug dealer. We were holding guys' heads in toilet bowls. We said we're not going to leave. There's not going to be any business in East Harlem until we catch these creeps that raped a nun. Now, one of the junkies said, well, I saw one little guy, one tall guy on the corner of 116th Street. Turned out, he said the little guy had a bop. It was an Olymp, he said. It turned out to be a bop. So when they came in, they came through the roof. So I figured, Don, burglary was the motive. And we were looking for a short and a tall burglar for 125th Street. We started at the East River. We hit every joint, every smoke pot location, every heroin parlor. We busted up there. We illegally searched people. We broke doors down. We committed no murder. We committed. We didn't work by the rules. We worked for 3 days. And when we finally caught the guys, one guy in Chicago, one in New York, the one guy got his jaw broken. And he said something about my mother, and I don't remember. I blacked out. I was up for 4 days. And he said something about my mom at the time. And I said, why did you talk like that about my mother? You don't know my mother. And I blacked out because I hadn't slept for 4 days. Yeah. And that was the end of that.
So, yeah, that was a great, I mean.
Yeah, that was a tough case.
You and Tommy, man.
You know, not to sway too much off it, but, you know, Obamacare, my brother Al, sure. He had triple bypass about 7-8 years ago. And now he had Empire, Blue Cross Blue Shield. Because of Obamacare, what they've done is they wiped out tens of thousands of people. He had chest pains 2 months ago. He tried to get a stress test. They told him he's not going to be able to get a stress test. He's got to get a new insurance company. He has to wait 30 days before he can get a stress test. My worry is, are there people out there dying because it's Obamacare? Again, when we had the regular insurance that we had before this genius came up with Obamacare, that's like saying if a one-room in a house, a 5-room house, needed fixing, let's knock the whole house down. We didn't have big problems. This Obamacare is destroying people. I'm wondering how many people are dying out there because they effectively can't get the medical care that they should be getting. And it's just, we got to stop the nonsense. The repeal has to come. The president has to realize, hey, you did something wrong. You know, I was with Christie on Saturday, Don. He sends his regards to you.
How many rooms were in the house?
What's that?
This house, how many rooms were in it?
5 rooms. 1 room needs fixing,
just
but
one
you knocked
room.
The whole house down.
Well, that makes sense.
What we needed to do was, we had 40 million American people that are in America here. They're not all Americans. We needed health care. So why didn't we just focus? I didn't see people lined up in hospitals waiting to get in there. It wasn't that broke, so why did you have to be so crazy? You know, I'm sorry.
What were you and Christie doing?
I was at Joe Grano's house. We had a fundraiser for Christie. Let me tell you something.
What's Joe Grano doing?
Joe Grano's doing great, real American hero, Green Beret. And I'm going to tell you something, Don. This Christie, if you listen to him talk, he speaks about taking a Senate that is controlled by the Democrats, compromise, making things happen, making things work. What I advise Mr. President you do is, why don't you sit Christie down and learn how to work together with the Democrats and Republicans and get something done. Please, because this country is just spinning their wheel. It's like it's on an ice patch. No traction, Mr. President. No traction.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
Talking with Bo Dietl, 13 till the hour. Hey, you think Weiner has a? What's your deal? What do you?
Oh my God, this guy should stop it already. This is one obnoxious punk, and I'll tell him to his face if he becomes the mayor. He's an obnoxious punk, and there's character, and that's what should be you're going to be the mayor of a city like this, the number 2 position in this country. This guy has no character. He's a sleazeball, and he should get the hell out of the race and stop embarrassing this city. He's disgusting. He's a liar. He continues to lie. When is he going to stop lying? People of New York, don't be psychopathic and even think about voting for this idiot.
I can't believe that he's actually ahead of a couple of people in the polls. Now, if you're running for mayor and Weiner's ahead of you in the polls, this is the guy that's taking his Weiner out and sending people pictures of it and making the dirty talk with the babes on the phone. I mean,
you know what, Don? Also, just imagine, more is coming out.
You can't beat a guy who sends pictures of his penis to people. I mean, I don't know if it's.
But imagine if he became mayor, Don. All of a sudden, someone else has some other pictures. They could blackmail him. He could be a mayor of New York being blackmailed. Let's think about this. This character has to come into play with this disgusting, ugly. He looks like his penis was put on his nose.
That's fine, Bo. That's going too far. It's going to hurt his feelings. We don't need to do that.
I know. I'm sorry.
All right. Thank you very much, Bo.
All right. One more fasting, Don?
We're out of time.
Okay. I'll see you
next 11
week.
Minutes now till the hour. Here in the I'm Smart program. Bo, hello.